a clinical hypno.
Yeah,
that works, huh?
Yeah, hypnotherapist.
Clinical hypnotherapist and an internationally published author. She's been featured on WB2, showing how powerful our minds are while revealing what really drives the process of subconscious communication and persuasion. Cody's been using hypnosis for more than 20 years and has helped thousands achieve the goals they have longed for. Cody Horton, internationally published author and intuitive hypnotherapist, will reveal today why and how to tap into your innermost and infinite genius. And as a little side note, many of you may not know this, but Cody was the recipient in 2009 of a Champion of Free Enterprise Award from Sales Professionals.
Very good.
And she carries that around with her every day. I met her at a networking event. It stuck me in the soul. Give it up for Cody.
Yeah, this definitely I do. I carry this everywhere I go. I want people to know exactly how cool I am. And also, it also shows you, that I'm promoting sales professionals international too. But that was cool. That was a lot of fun when I received that. That was great. That was 2009.
What club?
It was from the Colorado Springs Club. Had pitched my name in there, so there you have it.
Great.
Thank you. Hey, well, thanks for having me. I love to talk, and what woman doesn't? Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. But my focus, a lot of times, is about business. Granted, I am a hypnotherapist, a psychotherapist. I'm registered with the state of Colorado. But I found when I was doing my counseling practice that people weren't moving ahead as fast as I thought that they could. And so I I learned more about hypnosis, became a hypnotherapist. But hypnosis and also the value of your intuition has now been scientifically proven that we do go in and out of trance at least 29 times a day, and that we do have a sixth sense. And J.B. Ryan, and this is back even as far as 1937, he was head of the parapsychology department at Duke University. He did this exhaustive 8-year study on intuition. And how he determined that intuition really does exist, he had, first off, a machine throw out cards. And just law of averages, it came out about 50-50. Then he brought his subjects in, his students, and they started to mentally affect the cards. Whatever way that they did that, I'm not certain, but they were able to increase the actual intuitive discovery of what those cards were, upwards of 85%. So that outlawed any type of thing as far as chance goes. So what this proves to us is that our thoughts influence each other. But also, when we set an intention, and that's what they were doing, they were setting an intention that they would have the 8 of spades come up, or the 9 of diamonds come up, what have you. Then, when they set their intention, they were intuitively, the information came back to them, even when there wasn't really any analytical data to support that. It came back, and they were able to use their intuition to decide what card was going to be thrown up. So we have that potential. But this is what's happened to us. Back in the 14th century, Constantine ruled out what they called Gnostic Christianity. Gnostic Christianity was based upon intuition. And so what he did was, there were 2 forms of Christianity at that time. There was Orthodox Christianity, and there was the Gnostic Christianity, which is essentially intuitive Christianity. And what he did was he killed everybody off that was practicing Gnostic Christianity. And so my theory was, I guess, apparently, I was thinking if they were so intuitive, how'd they get killed off? But apparently they weren't able to get enough time put in to be able to trust their intuition that somebody's coming after them. But nonetheless, that's what's happened. So even back as far as the 14th century, I think even further back, Plato, Socrates, Max Mueller, all of these prophets, as well as mystics, talk to us about the intuition. Well, scholars now, because of the Dead Sea Scrolls, so on and so forth, are discovering that there has been a lot written about intuition. But a lot of people go, okay, I know that. I know that there's such thing as intuition, but how do I trust it? Well, I'm going to give you some tools and strategies today on what you can do to begin to enhance your intuitive nature, because we all have it. And one of the things that you want to do is to use self-hypnosis. And how we do that, when Socrates said the unexamined life isn't worth living, you have to examine your self-talk. All of a sudden, if something comes up and you start to say something negative, well, guess what? That probably will be your experience. And it's not as mystical as a lot of people think it is. What it is that whatever we hold secretly in our subconscious mind, that's what drives us. That's where our attention is. That's why certain groups of people migrate to certain groups of people. For instance, the gangs. How do they find each other? How are they capable of doing this? How are we capable of finding a different segment of people? Why do we join certain types of groups? Because like-minded finds like-minded. But it's not necessarily a conscious thing, it's a subconscious thing. So if you grew up with certain kinds of imprints, and it's really simple, you just investigated. A lot of people, as far as success goes, they grew up with, who do you think you are? Money doesn't grow on trees. We've had to sacrifice everything for you. And if you grew up with these types of thoughts, you have that program running as an imprint in your subconscious mind. So all you have to do is alter it. And that's what I do when I counsel people in my therapy sessions. I find out, what are the tapes that are running in your head? So they tell me. Then when I put them into this alpha state, which you go in and out of just before you fall asleep, just as you're falling asleep, you can write down either affirmations or do some of your own recordings or what have you, or buy a self-hypnosis program. But anyway, what you want to do is when the conscious mind starts to slip away, then we start to reprogram the subconscious mind with those alternate types of affirmations. If I'm a loser, I say I'm a winner. And you continue to do that, because here it is, scientifically proven that we really do create new neural pathways. Even if somebody has damaged their brain extensively in some sort of an accident, we can recreate new neural pathways. But it has to be exercised. And that's what a lot of people do not want to do. They don't like change. They don't like to put that input in, but you have to do that. And so when you do, then you'll start to see the changes come about. And so then when you want to be able to accomplish something, whatever you hold in your mind, you'll be able to recognize it. That's the whole point. Because a lot of times we could be walking along and we're not thinking about a certain experience that we want to have, so we miss it. But if we're thinking about that certain experience that we want to have, we have opened up the field of pure potentiality that Einstein talks about, and then we discover it. In fact, Einstein said that intuition is so important, and he believed it. And he would wake up a lot of times from a dream. He'd have a journal next to his bed, and he'd write in that journal. Thomas Edison did this. Thomas Edison, at the time of his death, had 3,400 books, journals, when he passed away, because he would take a journal with him everywhere he went, and whenever he had a burst of inspiration, he would write it down. And that's how he came up with so many patents and so many inventions. Legendary Warren Buffett, he's called the Oracle of Nebraska. People go to him because he checks out a stock based upon his intuition. He doesn't invest in a company unless he has that quote-unquote gut feeling. And what's happened is a lot of people discount intuition because they've always felt it's more of a feminine thing, but it's not. Guys have always talked about their gut instinct. Now, all of a sudden, the top buzzword in our time right now is intuition. And what happens is,